So for A of the two workout series, we're going to start off with a squat. And what we have you doing is a box squat. So you can use kettlebells, which is what we tend to use, or you can use a dumbbell in the same way. What we've been having you do, right? You're going to go against in the box chair or block, whatever's available to you, right? You're going to find that comfortable stance. We're going to lower on down. Again, feel free the first couple of reps to move your feet around. Find where you feel good. Again, notice I'm actually picking up my feet and then placing them back down. Find where you feel good, where it feels most optimal on your knee to drive out of the squat. Inhaling down, exhaling up. And as you start to feel better and better with it, right, you can spend less time and unload or rest on that bench for a shorter period. All right. Now, if we find that holding it in this position is just maybe not as challenging for you, and we've done this both ways, you can always and often make this a little bit more challenging by holding your dumbbells out to the side. Now, the tricky thing with this, Barb, is that when you do that, you have to take more of a parallel stance. Now, the benefit to that is it gives you more quads. The downside to it is it tends to load a little bit more into the knee. So again, you want to experiment and play with what's more optimal for you. And let's keep it real simple. 10 to 15 repetitions. Once 15 feels ridiculously easy and you can easily do 18, maybe even 20, take that weight up, right? If you can't quite do 10 or you're starting to feel pain, lower that weight down. Or the other thing, and this is probably the more important thing or the most important thing, is we may have to elevate you. So feel free, look around. There's always pads. There's always mats at gyms. If the range of motion is just too much, then decrease that range of motion by raising up what you're sitting on. All right, so exercise number 1, we're going box squat. B, let's just keep it real simple and we're gonna go for your dumbbell bench press, right? So nothing new here. The big thing is just making sure that you're selecting a weight. You're strong. You can do pretty heavy weights, right? I think, and I'll include all this in your chart, but I'd much rather have you go a little lighter and feel real confident about getting into the position than using a heavier weight and struggling with the stability. So we're going to bring those weights up, press through the floor, squeeze the butt, lift through the chest. Nice big inhale, little pause, nice big inhale, little pause. Only going down as deep as feels right for you. Again, same idea, 10 to 15. Now again, I'd much rather have you go a little bit lighter. Maybe you do a few more repetitions. You can take it up to 20 repetitions with these. I'd much rather have you do that than go heavier and just run the risk of possibly losing it. All right, so dumbbell bench press. Number 3 in this series is your pull down. Now, with the machines that are available at the gym, you may not necessarily have, it may be a little bit different than this setup. You may have a machine that is a little more optimal, but you can use like a cable crossover that they have, which is kind of like this, but there's 2 at a lot of gyms, or they also have what's called a functional trainer. You could do something like that as well. But again, this is just this guy, right? We're leaning back just that little bit, lifting through the sternum, shoulders go back and down, drive those elbows in, big inhale, exhale, shoulders back and down, drive those elbows in, big inhale, little stretch, exhale, shoulders back and down, elbows in. The big thing here is just watching for the shoulders to elevate. We want to avoid that elevation of the shoulders. Keep those shoulders back and down. Keep those elbows in. Keep finding those lats. Right? Moving on from there, we don't typically, well, in a gym setting, you're going to have access to something called a leg curl. Usually it's going to be a seated leg curl where you're kind of sitting in this contraption and you're going to have a pad that you place. You go extend your legs out. You're going to have a pad that you place underneath your ankle. That's going to be to work your hamstrings. We don't do that here. We do either bridges or I have you push the sled to kind of hit that posterior chain. In a gym setting, I would have you do that just because of you have access to that. It's pretty easy to get into. It's probably going to be really good for your knee. And basically, again, we can discuss this seated leg curl where you're pulling the leg back. The most important thing about the machines is that you set up appropriately on that machine. I know this is a lot. I know this can maybe a little complicated, but if you read the instructions, you'll be able to figure it out. It's really, when it boils down to it, it's lining up your axes, right? Like your knee joint with the axis on the machine and adjusting the seat in accordance. That's what I'm going to recommend. Again, if you need more details, we can discuss it. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a tricep extension. Now, again, what we do here is we tend to do a cable tricep extension. We've done this single arm and with two double arm. This is this guy, and I would do a double, Barb, just because again you want to cruise through. You're on vacation. You want to get in and get out, and which is wonderful. You want to get your workout in, work out intensely, and then move on. But this is just this extension right here, right? Basic cable extension. Exhale, hold. Inhale, release. Exhale, hold. Inhale, release. Again, same idea, 10 to 15, nice strong contraction at the bottom, little pause, slow on the return. The last thing I want you to do in this series is we're going to do that hard style sit-up. And this is where we're finding position. And I'm going to put this in your warm-up as well. So you're going to pull the toes back towards your shins. You're going to be reaching towards your heels. Think ribs down, lower on down as far as you can, right before the heels come off the floor or right before you begin to lose this structure. And make those nice, sharp, strong exhalations. 20 sharp exhalations. You're going to inhale and come out of it. And then we're going to lower back down into it again. Ribs down, tailbone tuck, rolling out, reach for the heels. 20 sharp exhalations, inhaling up. We're going to do that 3 times. Listen, I hope this is helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, we can dial this in a little bit more specifically when we know exactly where you are. But again, just to recap, you've got your box squat. We've got your dumbbell bench press. We've got your pull down. And again, there may be a machine that's more optimal for this than obviously, the setup we have right here. You have that leg extension where you're working your hamstring. Leg curl is often how it's called, where you're working those hamstrings. And then we have your tricep extension. There's a machine usually for tricep extension too. I find the rope to be a really good tool, even better than some of the machines. The tricep machines just aren't all that great. And then again, we have that hollow hold. You can even do this if there's nobody there. You can even do all this as a circuit. It's a great way to just kind of keep your heart rate up. Again, most important thing, spare your joints, especially watch your knees on those squats. And if there's something, especially like that leg curl, just doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Or contact me and we'll iron out the details. All right, Barb. Listen, I'll see you soon. Reach out if you have any questions.